This shop's one of a kind. We never know what might turn up. Some days, it could be a grand old classic. Other days, maybe a muscle car, even a military vehicle. Some jobs are quick fixes. Others are full-blown restorations. And on occasion, million-dollar recreations. My only rule, perfection. And that's the kind of thing that we do at the Guild Garage.
So Dave had a brilliant idea. He was going to restore an Indian chief motorcycle. And like a lot of projects that Dave takes on, we're now left holding the bag. He took it apart, and now we have to do the body work, we have to do the paint, get the engine rebuilt.
You know, I first saw this Indian in an auction catalog. And I sort of looked at it and went, I need that. And it came with a sidecar, and I got the sidecar. You know, I really had no plan. I mean, I don't need a plan to buy stupid stuff. It just occurs naturally.
So this motorcycle, it's been wrecked, so the head tube was cracked. So I have beveled it out and re-welded it with some nickel rod.
The bike at some point had a huge collision. I mean, I don't know whether the guy lived, but chances are that he didn't.
When I repaired the crack in the head tube, it came out a little bit oval because metal likes to expand and contract. What I've got to do now is heat it up till it's soft, and then I can press the perfectly round, hardened ground bearing race into it so it fits again. I have to get it started, so I sort of gently tap it with the hammer. So it's just in. And once I've got it tapped in place and lined up, then I take the wrench and crank down on the nut, and this threaded rod squeezes the bearing into the headset. Now we'll cool it off. So the repairs here are pretty simple. They're the kind of thing that you would have done when the bike was new. We've got a couple of different welding techniques, but essentially everything's the same. And it's nicely seated up against the casting. So now it's not going anywhere ever. We should be good. So that was the last piece of metalwork that has to get done on the frame. And now I can take it over to Mel, and he's gonna make it pretty with the paint.
There's a lot of fancy paint jobs on Indians, red and cream and turquoise. But I have a feeling from what I found on this that it was just a black bike when it was new. So that's the way I'm going.
This is a Delmer SP250. It's a British car. It's a great car. It's a performance car. I really like this little car. It's got a great big motor in it for a tiny car. It's a 2.5-liter V8. It's hemispherical heads. It has dual SU carburetors on it. It's a lot of fun to drive. This was a car that we restored about 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that. Larry bought it just on photographs. At this point, he's never even come up to drive the car. So tomorrow's the day. Of course, we pull it out. It's not running. I'm wandering through the showroom and I hear the sound of a car engine just grinding away without starting.
No gas?
I don't know. Every once in a while I got a kick there, so.
It's either got no spark or no gas, because it sure as hell isn't giving any indication that it's gonna run.
I'll get it.
There's two things it needs. It needs to move, but it really needs brakes.
Does it?
So make sure, yeah, Larry's driving it, so make sure it's got brakes.
All right.
The car needs to be running and stopping really well before I'm gonna let him go out in it, because, well, we all know Larry.
Nothing?
I can feel the electric pump pumping fuel.
We're gonna have to go through a few scenarios with it and see why. Right now we're looking for, make sure we have spark, make sure we're getting fuel up to the carburetors.
Okay, we'll try it one more time.
Success.
So we got it started. And then it died again. It only ran for a few seconds.
And I will grab a booster.
The battery was a little bit weak, so we put the booster on it.
Try it again there.
Wanted to go.
Now, we're just feeling that, you know, maybe it's a maybe a fuel issue. We're gonna move it back to the doors, get it running, get the exhaust outside so we don't fog everybody out in here.
I opened the gas tank, and as soon as I opened it, it actually started too for some reason.
Maybe your magic touch. Magic man.
These SU carburetors are a little finicky after they've been sitting for a while.
Actually sounds pretty good.
Good oil pressure.
Yeah. Beautiful. Hey? Oh. Sorry.
Should we kill it?
Yeah. Is that Larry and Dave out? Should be good.
Today I headed down to the city to stop in at Champion Cycle to talk to Danny about the Indian motorcycle engine that we sent for him to overhaul.
Still waiting on parts, unfortunately.
I'm not surprised at that.
It's pretty bad. You want to check it out? I'll show
yeah,
it to
for
you.
sure.
I'll give you a little rundown. Come on the back. An antique bike is always a headache. Always. As soon as you hear the word antique, instead of getting excited, you get nervous. As soon as they told me it was a 1940 Indian, I thought, wait a second, this is not crazy, this is cool. Like, I gotta look into this. This particular motor we're working on right now is a 74 cubic inch, which is 1210 cc's. Back in the day, that was a fairly big engine. So I'll show you the cylinder. You can really see how they were abused. Take a look at that.
Oh yeah, look at the gouge in there, like the pin came out.
Pin must
came
have
out and
spit
just-
right out. Dude, you can see all the color discoloration. She must have took a hit right there and then slid all the way down.
Just gouged, destroyed it. I was a little surprised at the condition of the engine. I didn't think it was that bad. The gouging in the cylinders, I never saw that before.
So if you take a look here, these are pistons out of a BMW motor, a modern motor. That's how it's supposed to look, right? Wrist pins, circlips holding on both sides, everything in their channels, everything moving freely. Pretty much what happened with that piston, the same concept.
Pin came out.
Pin came right out. Little circlip right here, must have let go. Imagine the oil rings, all your piston rings, everything in the cylinder the way it should be. Instead of this ring sitting in safely, it's pushing out.
Just chewing the side out of it.
chewing the sidewall. And you gotta understand, at a high rate of RPM, this thing is really putting in some work. Pistons rising, falling, rising, falling. This pin is just slowly creeping out and just gouging into the wall as it goes until finally she would have seized. So I'll show you this.
Well, that's the oil pump.
This is a complete assembly of the oil pump and oil pump gear. Take a look at the actual gear inside.
There's a lane in there.
See it just dangling around in there? Where it sounds like a little marble?
Yeah, that shouldn't be flopping around in there like that.
Not at all.
No.
So, and you can see how chewed up it is
Yep.
and maimed the gears are.
Right.
Well, there's our culprit.
Speed up. Something broke in the oil pump and starved the engine of oil and overheated the bearings and broken pieces of piston off. So the cylinders are junk. The cylinder heads are junk. I guess you could call it blew up. So what's your plan with this cylinder?
We found a company that fully manufactures an OE replica billet cylinder system.
Well, it looks like Danny did his homework and sourced up somebody that made reproduction pieces for the bike, and it was much more sensible to buy these parts than to try to rebuild or repair what we had.
All right, can we take it for a drive?
Sure we can. We'll go somewhere where there's no cars, no traffic,
That's okay, I don't mind that.
straight, and with no ditches.
All right, let's have a look at it.
Well, it's a nice car. I mean, I know the car quite well because we did it years ago, but this car was offered for sale here, and Larry had actually seen it when it was sitting in the nose of the showroom and liked it. So I phoned him and said, car's up for sale, and you can make an offer. So he did, and he got it reasonably, I thought.
Yeah, no,
You know?
I'm happy with it.
Look at the size of this motor in a little tiny sports car.
Yeah, boy, that's Hemi. Wow.
Hemi head Daimler engine.
That's kind of helped make up my mind because it's a pretty powerful car, and it's a cool looking little car, you know. Didn't you tell me it was voted one of the ugliest cars?
The year it came out, I think that the press voted it the ugliest car of the year.
Oh, it's been compared with Catfish.
I personally like the fact that he restored it, so I've got a good history of it.
And what he likes about the fact that I restored it is that anytime something goes wrong, he's got somebody to yell at.
Well, yeah.
The British police used these as police cars, believe it or not.
No way.
They did, yeah. Yeah,
Not
they used this-
convertibles.
What makes these little cars fast is they've got a V8 in them. And, you know, Chrysler claims the Hemi, but Daimler did it first.
You think I can get in this one?
Unless all your spine is ossified. Well, that was elegant.
All right, can we take it for a drive?
Sure we can. I'm driving.
Well, you can drive and start, then I'm driving.
We'll go somewhere
Yeah.
where there's no cars, no traffic,
That's okay, I don't mind that.
straight, and with no ditches. then you can drive.
Okay, I'm gonna show you what driving's all about.
So we're at Champion Cycle, and they're known for their high-performance motorcycles. They build everything from turbo drag bikes to street bikes, you name it, they do it. They're known for their high-performance engines, so it's a perfect shop to take our Indian motorcycle engine for our rebuild. How's the crankshaft and rods and everything look?
Well, I'll show you. So as you can see the case crack.
So something must have got broken off and jammed in through here and busted that right out of there.
Well, the only thing that could break cast iron like that is other cast iron, as you know. More than likely, that's a piece of piston.
Skirt came off. and-
Skirt came off, as it was seizing, obviously the metal had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And if this was, as you can imagine, sealed, and the other half of the case was on, there's nowhere for it to go. It just went slapping down in there until she let go.
So this thing needs a complete overhaul, everything.
So yeah, by the time she gets put back together, she'll be better than new, but within all the factory specs, factory mill bore, factory stroke, it'll be perfect.
It's a pretty big project. It's like restoring an automobile. It's the same kind of concept. You got to start from scratch and do everything from the ground up.
It moves better than it did before.
It moves it all. Oh, that's great.
So you got the metal work done, and this is ready to go for final prep for paint.
It should be.
see
We
if
can
that's
check
got a
and
good
see what
fit.
it looks like.
And this is the best part of an Indian is these fenders.
Yeah, they're
This
gorgeous.
is the first, you know, this 40 Indian. This is the first year for these big
The
fenders.
skirted ones?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and they didn't make them very many because during the war, the military bikes had the small fenders. So it's a bit of a rarity. And I have a feeling, I haven't seen it yet, we might have to make these pieces of trim, but we'll see. I know I've got to make it for the sidecar because we're missing all the sidecar trim.
There's a sidecar for this?
Yeah. It does need a little bit of work.
It's in surprisingly good shape.
Yeah, it's got the brake on, it's got the nice spoke wheel, and what
Nice
I really
leaf
like is
spring,
the
too.
Indian foot plate here.
Yeah, that's the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah. It's not a big project, but I think it's going to be really worthwhile because it enhances the value of the bike when it's finished. They're worth a lot more money if they've got a sidecar on them, and this is an original Indian sidecar. It's not like a made-up later one. It's the real deal. We got to put the floors in it.
Yeah.
Had to go to the body shop after that and get painted, and then it's missing some trim here. Just, you know, like really thin, bright work.
Yep.
Good. So, when you finish the, I don't know,
When I'm done with the Ferrari, I can.
and the Maserati and, you know, the VAT, just throw this in. And so, end of next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Ooh. Hey, Phil. Phil, come here. Wanna go for a ride? Let's go for a ride. Go for a ride. Good boy.
Oh, look what you've done.
What did I do?
Sitting in that seat for 3 minutes and you've already broken the freaking car. Oh, these are really peppy. I haven't driven one of these for a long time.
Well, I've never driven one, so.
You know, the drive went well. There was a little old car glitchy stuff. It needs a bit of clearing. It does need driving right now. It just hasn't been driven up.
Pull over so I can drive.
We're on Highway 11. I'm not letting you drive on Highway 11.
So that's your signals up in there.
Don't-
Oh, that's good.
We're moving. Don't play with buttons. You got to watch your speed with this car because it'll creep up on you.
Let me drive my own car, will ya?
Okay, I'll watch.
Narrow road, sharp curves, drive with care.
Narrow road with short. Maybe I should drive.
He let me drive. He had no choice. I was ready to push him right out of the car.
Okay, you will listen to me, won't you? No, you won't.
No.
No. You know, Janice is counting on me to get home today. Oh, look what you've done.
What did I do? What happened to just turning it on? This
Sitting-
car just handles like a
You've been
dream.
sitting in that seat for 3 minutes and you've already broken the freaking car. Did that pop?
No.
I'm pretty sure this is the opener.
Something popped, but
Yeah, this popped. It says hood.
another great investment.
You know what you're gonna do?
What? Call
Push
for
me
help.
backwards.
Yes, and that's going to open the hood?
No, forget opening the hood.
Yes, you're going to try to jump it?
Yes, sir.
All right, you ready?
Don't get greasy handprints on it.
Yeah, watch, it's my car anyway.
Keep going, keep going.
Don't stall.
I know. It's handling nice, so you know what? It's getting warmed up. It has a chance now to get into it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, once we get rid of that carbon, that Hemi just starts to really, really wound out.
Yeah.
It just wanted it. It's like pulling back a horse almost.
And then when you were over revving it, that helped. This is a nice little road.
It is. We can really
And
unwind.
if it didn't have the curves on it,
Yeah,
it would
well,
probably
the curves are what make it because I like the curves.
be. Should I start screaming yet?
Get nervous now, are you?
Yeah, I am, 'cause
Oh,
you're
good.
driving.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, it was tight. It was handled nice. Other than the crying baby beside me, I had no problem at all.
What side of the road are we on?
We're driving and we're enjoying this ride, all right?
So how many do you think you've sold already?
Probably 100.
100 and you haven't made a dent? Larry and I go back about 30 years, and along with our love of cars, we're both collectors at heart. One of the things I collect is tractors. Larry has this amazing collection of hood ornaments. That really is one of his passions. Some of these that he's got are one-offs. Just like one-off cars, they're astronomically valuable. Really something that probably should be in museums. So this one, I mean, this was always one of your favorites, and now you're thinking
Well,
of selling it?
Yeah.
You know, Larry's got this amazing collection, and he's sort of agonizing. As much as he says he really wants to get rid of them, he really doesn't, in his heart of hearts, want to get rid of them. So this is a big piece. You'd need a pretty big car to put her on.
That's Josephine Baker. She was a phenomenal person in the
Oh, yeah, she
1900s.
was.
She adopted children from every nation.
Oh, did she?
And I think, from what I was told, it was put on her car.
Oh, is that right? So she had a statue of herself on her car?
On her own car, yes.
It's an amazing piece. So he's asking for my help in pulling them out, sort of making some decisions about which ones should go and which ones should maybe stay for a little while, or at least how to market them, how to sort of package them and get them out to people. He's got far too many hood ornaments to just let them go in one burst of activity, because, I mean, it'll just kill world prices. So how many do you think you've sold already?
Probably 100.
Oh, is that many?
Yeah.
We're sort of coming up with a plan here to market them effectively. It's going to take a little time. It's not going to be done in 3 months. 100 and you haven't made a dent? But, you know, over the course of a couple of years, maybe 3 years, through various auctions, we'll put together small packages of these, get them out, and see if we can maximize the amount of money he's going to get as a return. I'm just wondering
jewelry
why
stores.
an elephant
I have
hatching
no
out
idea.
of-
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
So what are you doing with these out?
Well, I just brought some of them out to get an idea from you and have a look and see. This is one that Dave loves, and he's after me like crazy for it.
Which one?
That one behind your back.
No, it's the...
yeah. So that's,
Yeah, I do
that's-
like this
That's the Rolls Royce. Well, you
Well, this was the when Britain took the Schneider Cup. The
Yeah.
Schneider Trophy.
And that's a Schneider trophy.
Mitchell, the guy who designed this airplane, went on to design the Spitfire
And
during the war. So, you know, a car's a car, and I mean, they have some significance there. But some of these hood ornaments, especially the specials, the ones that were made by jewelers in Paris and in other places, they were made for special events or for special people.
People that were famous, they bought an automobile, a famous, beautiful automobile, but they don't want the hood ornament on it. They want their own that says something about them. So royalty would buy it, Hollywood people would, dukes, duchesses, or pimps, who knows? If it's what they wanted for their car, they came to the jewelry stores. Now, Davey, this one here is one of my favorites. This is 1908 out of Austria, and it's the two girls dancing. It's got ivory, which I know is a problem right now, but it is 1908. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. I mean, this would have come off someone's car but who knows, somebody in the theater group or something like that. And look, you can see this is the radiator cap right here, that was used on an automobile. It's pretty hard to believe that.
That would actually fit a Model T.
Look at this one here. This is Pan, and the nymph is collecting tears. This was done in 1918, and this is actually very unique. It's really...
Do you like any time there's a nude
If you
figure?
notice, just about everything in here is nude.
Yeah, I noticed. There may be something to the fact that if you can't afford the whole car, at least you can have the hood ornament, which in some cases is the most charming part of the car. But with some of these hood ornaments, you could buy several cars for what they're worth.
This one here was the one that was used for Princess Diana's car. That's the molding. And she just loved the look of a frog leaping, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think you should sell that.
That's
that's a great piece.
It's something else. I know that there'll be a lot of pieces here that as I put them up for auction, I will want to start thinking about whether I'm going to keep. And yes, there will be certain ones that I perhaps will keep, but I do think that the entire collection should go to somebody that would really appreciate it.
Larry's collection is still got to be one of the largest in the world. He's got something that appeals not to just collectors of mascots, but to collectors of various cars and also to people who are interested in the Art Deco of the period, because you may not want a hood ornament off a car, but you may want a beautiful piece of Art Deco jewelry, and that's what this is. I mean, there's a lot of hood ornaments. You're going to flood the market if you try to sell them all. And why don't you just give me them one at a time?
Yes.
I'll give you a $150 credit on each one.
Oh, wow. You're really going crazy, aren't you?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that would be
yeah,
entirely
yeah.
appropriate.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it'd be appropriate.
Yeah.